Like this morning in my ride, the shit, when I say the shit that's coming out of my body, I'm not literally meaning some form of excretion. Although what I'm meaning more is like 2 days ago I woke up, I'd started to clear the glands, and this fucking thing on top of my torso, and it was plugged into my ileocecal valve. And as I was pulling it out, right, great, you know, I felt a bit sick, whatever, keep going. That night, on waking in the morning, where the ileocecal valve is, this bruise, this 3-pronged bruise has been developing over a few days. And I'm like checking, there's nothing. It's like that's it leaving the body of us. So it's like I've got this fucking thing coming out of my ankle that looks like a sigil, like someone's carved into my ankle with all like a you know, when I say a sigil, do you know what a sigil is?
No, I'm not sure.
It's like a symbol, but it holds magical energy. I'm just like, oh, this is good. All right, what's next? You know, and I'm sitting in there and I've really got to dig deep. I've got to bring Moo up and antidote, neutralise, whatever the fuck it is that's in there. And, of course, in doing this, one must clear from all dimensions of self. So if you're not getting results with your clearing, look at dimensions of self. So it brings me to our title, Dimensions of Self, a request for Distillus. Yes, we have a playlist, Dimensions of Self, but let's get jiggy with it, shall we? So if we look at this wonderful experience of the Matrix, and we look at the fact that reincarnation is part of the Matrix time loop, then we will also understand that all these different dimensions of selves, other people may call them past lives, and they're accessible because they're on the same fucking time loop.
Yes.
Okay, clear is clear?
Yes. I have a question here, though.
Bring it.
Okay, so you said that they're accessible because they're on the same time loop, right? But if all those dimensions of self are a part of essence, they should be accessible even if they're a part of the time loop or not, yes? Or am I kind of...
absolutely. But most of that would entail being on Earth's organic timeline and having no amnesia or blockages.
Oh, no, I get ya.
Right.
Yes.
See, if you think of it in this idea of on the organic timeline, there's no death. Because you're remembering all your lives. There's, you know, we only have this experience of the death, the amnesia, how convenient, and we come back again and we have to fucking learn it all over again, whatever. When I say learn it, I mean learn the rules of the road. It's just this time where we're at in the... Fucking shut up. Where we're at in the time-space continuum of it all, it's like this is Moo breaking out of that loop. She's broken the seal that's held them. Does that make sense? I maybe should put up that diagram I did, inspired by Lily Earth's, you know, yin yangus. Anyway, I might...
So she broke the actual continuous loop.
Yes. She's breaking
there's like an actual sever.
Pardon?
Because it's like I've always felt how she's broken it as like a crumbling, like things like starting to fall apart, not like an actual sever. That's how my experience has been of it, because it's just been chunks.
It's like she's breaking it. She's not breaking it from the middle. She's breaking it from the sides. Like, do you know what I mean? So that's hence the crumbling. It's just doing it.
Yeah, it's all kind of just, that's exactly what it feels like it's doing. It's not like, snip, done.
Bye now. No, not quite. Although from this diagram, it probably looks a little bit cut and paste like that. So really the idea then being that these dimensions of self are also involved in the matrix. So as you clear and we say the words all bodies, all dimensions, we're saying we're clearing it from all those parts of self that's trapped in this bullshit, right? So some of the stuff that's coming out of me isn't necessarily from this life, so to speak. Anyway, when I was doing that DNA recall the other day...
just
calling back the DNA bitches. When I was doing that the other day, I went into this whole Borg self. I call it the Borg self. It's the part where they've actually co-opted my DNA and created a transhuman. Right? But
Yes.
guess what? It might be operating. It still needs my life force.
Still needs you to do it.
Absolutely. So I looked and I thought, this is irredeemable. I can't bring this thing back right now. So I pulled my life force from it, literally killing it. But I kept it in that place where I'm storing all the bullshit I clear. That's in a big Ramu Tet little fucking geometrical two can play the matrix game, right? But what I'm saying is, while it's been in there, it's healing. So it'll eventually go back to the original codes in the healing. So it'll come back to me healed. But right now, I don't need a Borg self operating. Dig it?
Yes.
It's funny because I've been in it for a few days, so it's not weird to me. And this is like the first time I'm talking about it to you, and you're like, "Fuck, I think she's taken the green pill. This is going fucking."
I'm sipping what you're spilling here. It's just
I'm sipping what you're spilling.
Yeah, you like
That's
that?
so cool.
Or was it? Someone said, where was it? I watched some show and there someone said, I'm smoking what you're rolling. I think it's probably more your line of things.
I mean, as says, I'm picking up what you're putting down, which is kind of cute, but wow, this is another version of the fucking, it's very girly. I'm sipping what you're spilling.
Yeah.
Okay, we're back to you. Sorry, all right, enough of that.
Okay. So what got me was that I understand the transhuman thing, how they basically take the DNA to create transhuman and it runs on your life force. I dig that. However,
that's not all transhumanism. There's transhumanism in these bodies where they're trying to convert this body that you've got as well. But I'm saying where my DNA's been stolen and is running those other things in other dimensions, not in this dimension necessarily. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Sorry.
I understand.
Anyway, keep going.
So it can really work both ways, really. It's like, hence all the chemtrails and all the
totally. So they're trying to make. See, this is the mothership.
Yeah.
Their absolute glory would be to convert the mothership. Right.
Mm-hmm.
But instead, they've only got little satellites right now that they can play with and fuck with. Well, not anymore.
Yeah. No, it's not even. It's not going to happen. But what got me with that is that when you were taking back your DNA, that's when I kind of went, what? When you said you put it into this Ramu Tet kind of, not a grid, but like a little holding thing.
Well, I've got this thing, right, of I don't like it where people go, oh, just give it to Mother Earth. Get fucked. You're going to give her your shit? How disrespectful.
Oh, so you're putting that in?
You know how they go, just give it to Mother Earth. She transfers, all energy is energy. No, I'm sorry, get fucked. New Age dogma crapola. No. No. I respect Mother too much for that. What I'm saying is when I clear this shit, I put it in another dimension, literally. And it's held in that dimension, in its little matrix bullshit, in a stellated dodecahedron. But that stellated dodecahedron is powered by a Ramu Tet grid. So it's constantly feeding it the healing energy of the Ramu Tet grid, right? So whatever's happening, it's returning to source. It's returning the codes back. I don't give a shit, but it's out of my way. Now, if it's inorganic, where's it going to go? To oblivion, to a non-creational. I don't give a shit, right? If it's organic, it's going to go back to organic. So it's all good as far as I'm concerned. Win-win. And it's not going into Moo. It's not polluting Moo. It's not disrespecting her, giving the shit back. Occasionally, she'll come up and feel what it is and do an antidote neutralise. Let her fucking decide it. Don't dump your shit on her. It's just rude. Right?
No, it makes sense. I now have another question for you. This is like,
my Sudoku moment. Sudoku.
Yeah.
How do you say it?
Sudoku?
Yeah, that's it.
That's like the game thing.
Yeah, but it's meant to make your mind, groovy when you get old.
Yes.
It's working for me.
I love that game, and I don't know if it works for me. What was I going to say?
Other questions.
Yes. So the thing. So when we spiral shit out of our field, or we help spiral out of someone else's field, and it just goes out into the ethers, it is really handy then to put it into that created thing that causes all the shit.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
I mean, occasionally I used to just chuck it back into the matrix and let it choke on that. But, those days are over. One must stay neutral and heal the fucker.
I love that full admission of, yeah.
This is the thing. I wasn't born like this. It's the fucking journey. Maybe I was born like it. The journey's been uncovering it. Oh, how fucking no age. All right then.
But you know what though? I've gone through the extremes, I think, as well, because I went through that new age kind of bullshit of, peace and love, and you can't wreck anything. You got to be neutral about, not neutral, but you got to be like lovey-dovey about every fucking thing, even if it's like destroying you. And then I went into
especially if it's destroying you.
And I went into the what?
Especially if it's destroying you.
Yeah, well. And then I went into, when I was doing this work, I went into the other extreme in the sense of I got really angry, and I just, not really angry, but I just started to realise
take back your power. It's like, fuck you, asshole.
Yeah. Yeah. And so now it's just been this lovely return back to, okay, neutral. I don't have to be fully pissed off, but I can be aware and I can know the truth and still,
I like the way you've taken back your power. I think that's very grown up.
I think so too. I feel good about it.
Oh, good, better.